Welcome to Deb Talk with your host, Deb Darling. On this pod, I'll be asking the hard questions that life throws our way. What some are scared to talk about and others wish they did. Sex, cultura, kids being assholes, overeating, butt sex, shitty jobs, and so much more. I'm on this journey of getting to know myself and others. So come join me! Welcome to Deb Talk with your girl, Deb Darling. I am here with my very special guest, Mr. Carlos.
Hey everyone.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. How are you?
Good. This is fun.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to have you. We've been following each other for so long, and it's been a while, and I'm like so excited to just get into it and talk to you. Please tell the people who you are, what you do, all that good stuff,
Sure.
and where they can find you, of course.
Yeah. So my name is Carlos Fuentes. I am 28 years old. I was born and raised in Chelsea, Massachusetts, 02150. I currently am in Florida enjoying the hot sun during this quarantine. But where you can find me on social media is at Carlositos 2.0, and there's a reason for that 2.0 as we get into this segment.
Yes. Well, welcome. I am so excited. I can't say it enough. And one more time, thank you so much for coming on. You are highly appreciated.
No, thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. So let's slide right on into our first segment, which is the weekly inquiry. This week's inquiry is, how has your life journey affected your love life?
Sure. So that is actually a great question. One that actually is kind of, I think if there's anything that I want from my journey, or people called me an influencer, which I really don't, I don't want to say I agree with, but I don't believe either. But I think for me, it's that, growing up, I was always a heavyset kid. I even remember, when was it, in middle school, my brothers and my mom telling me that like I came out almost 10 pounds. My mom gave me birth naturally, and that she says that the last thing she remembers is going to my dad saying, "Take care of the boys," and she blacked out. And they had to revive my mom. So that's literally, I've been a big boy since birth. But for me, my parents told me growing up that I would be 3 months old but wearing like a 1T clothing and stuff. And I remember like I would wear my brother's clothing, who is 7 years older than me, wearing his clothes in like elementary school. So it kind of shows you excuse me, kind of gives you the image of how of a big kid I was. But growing up, it was definitely hard, I think, to find friends, because I think that for me, like when it came to like gym class, or when it came to anything to put myself out there, I really was shy. And I really did keep to myself. And, I kept putting negative thoughts in my head about who I was as a person because of my weight. And, I was very unhappy. But fortunately enough, during middle school and high school, I got involved in, band and chorus and drama club and all this great stuff that I love. And I've met, wonderful people who I still talk to this day, even after, there's relationships that you don't have after high school, but I luckily have them. And then from there, I was like, great, like I can make friends, but there's one thing missing. And from there, it wasn't until middle school when I came out to my closest friends. And it was freshman year in high school. I paid a girl to be my pretend girlfriend.
No.
Yeah, I paid her to be my pretend girlfriend. And it was like legit during Valentine's Day because I remember I bought her. I don't know if you remember when these were like big back in the day, where it was like the big balloon with the teddy bear inside, and it made like a noise or it sang to you. So I like bought her those and whatnot, and I remember she dumped me for another guy, and obviously it didn't hurt because I really wasn't in love with her. But um, I remember coming out in high school, and I remember that there was only three, three or four people at the time that were out, like really, really out. And I think for me, it was hard because in high school, there was a lot of different perspectives that were put into my head on how I should act. Um, and I hate to say this about myself or anyone, but I kind of really was like, let's just say I got around in high school. And I think that till this day, it has put a negative tone on my name. And um, growing up, and even just trying to make friends who were gay was hard because I literally, until this day, for those who know what Grinder is, I will send a message to somebody, literally just saying, "Hey, how are you?" And the messages I'll get is like, "Oh, fuck you." Oh, sorry, is it okay to swear on here?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Fuck shit, motherfucker.
Okay,
All
there
the
you go.
good stuff.
um, a lot of the messages I would get was like, "Ill," like, "Go kill yourself," or, you know, "Why are you talking to me?" or stuff. And then there's others who I wouldn't even write to, and they would send me a message of like, "Get in the gym, you fat ass. Like, you think people are gonna love you?" Like all
Jesus.
this stuff. So the gay community is it's harsh, especially where I think that the media has portrayed that we have to be a certain way in order for us to be gay. You have to be skinny or have abs or, have blonde hair or, look great in a thong or whatever it is. And I think that I have let those stereotypes get into my head.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and, I'm 28 and I've never been in a relationship. Let's put it that way. And if I have been in a relationship, it's been a secret one. And what I mean by that is there are straight guys who I've been with romantically, like not even sexually, just like, like calling me babe and we'll spend the night together, we'll go out, but it was all in the closet because they either had a girlfriend or they were just didn't want to come out. And I put myself in situations where it's like, well, I'm never going to have this in real life, so I might as well enjoy it. And so I put myself in a place where I think it's become really hard to find love. And I think that for me, what bothers me the most is, I'm somebody who would love to just cuddle and watch a movie or just be like, hey, let's go on a road trip this weekend and, just kind of find that love. And so I think for me, it was really hard to find love and to even make friends. And luckily, right now, I have amazing friends who support me in everything. And kind of segue into my journey of my weight loss and just kind of life is I growing up, I had a mom obviously, and I had my grandmother and my aunt. And for those of you who are a big Latino family, know that like your grandmother, and there's always that one aunt who is literally the stepping stone of your family. And for me, when my mom was pregnant with me, she was working 3 jobs and she only had, I think, like a month or two of maternity leave. And so I basically grew up with my grandmother and aunt. And so, they were the ones that are like, you haven't eaten, eat, or, like have this, have that. And so, I was always, I was always fed. And whatever I wanted, they gave me, which just happened to be food. But about 2 years ago, um, my grandmother was getting sick, and we knew that she was going to pass away. So we were ready. We were getting ready for that. So she passed away in um, September of 2018. And then literally 3 months later, my aunt, who was basically my mom, passed away suddenly. And so that was a huge, huge loss in my life, and a huge, it affected me mentally and physically. Um, and I knew that I had to do something about it. And I found the gym. And working out was something so different for me. Um, it was very hard at first because, one, I think when it comes to working out and when you're a bigger person, you feel like you're being judged.
And you're being watched the whole time.
Right. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like even if I was to do something wrong, that someone would be like, look at this, idiot. Look at this fat ass trying to do something. And, and I think the other thing behind that too was me being gay. In the back of my head, it was, does this person know that I'm gay? And because I'm looking at them, do they think I'm checking them out? And is this going to turn into something bigger? But it's hard when you're on a treadmill and there's literally nothing in front of you except for other machines and other people. So what am I going to do? Look at the ceiling, look at the floor? Like, no, that's boring. You kind of want to see what's going around the gym, see if like you can pick up something. Somebody's doing bicep curls. What are they doing differently? What you can do? So in the back of my head, it was really more of, does this person think I'm checking them out? And that's what I was really afraid of. So it was more of, does this fat ass even know what he's doing, to, does this fag checking me out? And so it was these two clashing things that I had in the back of my head. And when I started working out, I had such a great support, such a great community who was really behind me about losing the weight and holding me accountable, which I really appreciated. And I was with it every morning. I did my hour of cardio. I did my 30 minutes of strength training. And I didn't know how to swim, and then I learned how to swim. So then I did laps. I would do 20 to 25 laps when it came to working out. And from
that. I watched all the videos you posted. I was like,
thank
oh
you.
my God, that's so awesome.
Well, so I guess let me backtrack a little bit. So when this all started, I had lost about 30 pounds, and it was significantly noticeable. And I had posted it on Twitter, which I really don't use. And if I do, it's to retweet like hot gay men, or just things that are going on.
Literally, one of my favorite pages to follow is yours, because you're always retweeting hot ass gay men. I'm like, oh my God, how are you gay?
so I posted the picture, and actually, if you go on my Twitter, which is Carlositos13, the picture is still pinned to my Twitter. And one of my friends who lives in New York, who now lives in Florida, retweeted my picture, and he was a very well-known gay person within the gay community, I guess just around the country, because he had people following him from Florida, New York, Boston, Chicago, LA, everywhere. And because he had tweeted that picture, so many gay people were retweeting it, and then all these people started retweeting it. And I remember I went to bed, and my sister-in-law called me, and she was drunk. She was obviously drunk, and she goes, dude, you're a meme. And I go, what are you talking about? She goes, dude, I was just on whatever she was, and she goes, and you're a meme. And I said, yeah. I hung up on her. I went back to bed. I woke up the next morning. When I woke up the next morning, my phone was like acting really, really weird. And I opened Instagram, and it was literally like 1,000+ friend requests, 1,000+ like messages. Like people on Twitter were
Wow.
following me, like sending me messages, and a lot of it was just love and support. And I think for me, like it was such a game changer because I think I was so used to negativity in my life that
Mhm.
it just took me by surprise, and it lit a fire under me. And of course, with anything, there's always going to be negativity. So there were those people that were like, "What? He just changed the color of his shirt, or he got a haircut, or he got a new phone case, or he got a phone upgrade," because I think it was two different phones at the time. And it was incredible to see that I didn't have to say anything. The people on Twitter or not Facebook, I'm sorry, Twitter or Instagram were the ones who were defending me. And I was like, what has become of this? And it grew to the point where at one point I had 90, whoa. Yeah, no, I had 90,000 followers. I had 90,000 followers. And I don't even know like how to explain it. It was very overwhelming. Um, and then it kind of went. I don't want to say it went downhill, but it kind of did when I was invited to give a speech at a pride flag raising ceremony, and I was giving a certificate by the city of Boston and the state of Massachusetts for just promoting, diversity inclusion in my work within Pride and the LGBT community. And I posted it. I overnight went from 90,000 followers to 60,000 followers. People were sending me messages of like, I came here to see a fitness journey, not some fucking fag. Like, what is this gay shit? Blah, 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 blah.
No.
Yep, yep, yep. And so then you had people who were like Trump supporters and like all these people that were just really saying just nasty, nasty stuff. And it was it was a moment because I think growing up I was, knock on wood, very blessed to be out in a community that was accepting. I think that obviously there were some people who were not, and they made it very, clear, but it wasn't anything that was hurtful or harmful or anything like that. But this was like the first moment where I really had experienced discrimination for being gay and all that. And so it took a toll on me, and then I kept, working out, and then life got busy, and I stopped for like 2 weeks, maybe even a month, because I forgot what I was doing. And people were like, "Where have you been? Like, are you working out? Like, are you okay? Like, what's going on?" And it kept happening over and over again. And I came to a realization that I wasn't working out for myself anymore.
You were doing
That
it for other people.
I was doing it for other people, and that's not why I started this journey. And I started thinking about my journey, and I was like, wow, the reason why I started working out was, yes, because I lost two important people in my life, but it was also because I wanted to find love. And that was such a trigger for me.
So that was your motivation, was that you wanted to find
Was to find love.
that love.
And I still battle with that concept because it's more of, why should I change who I am to be with someone for love when they should be able to love me as I am? Not saying that I'm going to be fat forever, but
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't be doing it for that reason. I should really be doing it for me and, how it makes me feel. And I think that as I was working out, like noticing the changes, noticing the changes in my clothing, the changes in my sleep, the changes in everything, it made me feel good. And life happened, and I lost my job in January, and um, I came to Florida. I wasn't working out because I was just in a dark place mentally. And it wasn't until recently where I was like, what is the one thing that will keep me sane during this quarantine, and just throw just everything that's going on in the world right now? And it was like, you have to stay active. Like, you have to stay active. And the thing about quarantine is there's only two things you can do. Well, three things is eat, sleep, and learn how to cook and bake, which is what I've been doing. And so I was like, I can't put myself back in that space where I felt unhappy and just gross and all of these different emotions. And so I've been walking every day for an hour, doing 3 miles, just doing the little part that is going to help me to become healthy. And I haven't had soda in 3 to 4 weeks, I want to say. I've literally just been drinking water or like iced tea, but I try to drink water. um, and so I'm challenging myself. And I think throughout this whole journey, and even you seeing on my Instagram about learning how to swim, was that the message I wanted to get across was, don't be afraid to do something different in your life, because you never know the opportunities that it will provide for you. And I think that learning how to swim, losing the weight, getting all these followers, people were asking me to like wear their underwears and promote them, do all this stuff. And it was different for me. And um, for me, it just led to a different lifestyle that I never knew of. And I met more amazing people because of it, who are still behind me 100%, checking up on me, making sure that I'm okay mentally, making sure that like I go for my walk, making sure that I drink my water. And I love that so much. And um, so because of the hate that I was getting on Instagram and just everything that was going on in my life, I had decided to delete my Instagram of 70,000 followers. um, I will say that it was a hard decision to make, but I knew that for my mental capacity, my physical capacity, I had to give it up. And that's why I came up with my new Instagram, which is Carlositos 2.0. And if you allow me, my bio is new Insta, sushi lover, because I love sushi, traveler, because I love to travel, musical lover, because I love Broadway. But I put this quote because I think that this really captures what I'm doing with my new social media and my new life, is that it says, I've got a new story to write and it looks nothing like my past. And I think that for a lot of us, whether it's a fitness journey, whether it's, finding love, whether it's finding a new job, whether it's finding whatever, I think that we get so stuck in our past that, well, this is what I did, this is what I used to do. It's not about that anymore. And you have to become comfortable with the uncomfortable. I was working for at the same company for 8 years, and now I have to start fresh. And I think it's hard for a lot of people because you've known how to do the same thing for the last 8 years, and now you have to start fresh, and it's hard. But if I want to move on and become successful, I can't think of the past. I have to literally move on and start fresh. And that's what I'm doing. And I think that even right now at the age of 28, I thought I was going to be with this organization for such a long time, but now plans have changed. And I think that that's something that we need to learn, is that life is unpredictable. You know what I mean? You never know what's going to happen. And you have to be okay with it. You can moan and groan and all that stuff. That's fine, because that's the part of, I don't even know if you would say grieving, but just processing everything that's going on. And for me, I think being in Florida and being with my family and just starting fresh and just cutting off people who literally were just negative and who I thought were friends who are not friends anymore, and just keeping my circle small. Like right now, all my social media is private, because before it was open to anyone, and not everyone who's a friend is a friend. They're an enemy, or they're someone who's stalking your page to go tell the other person what's going on in your life. And I'm not about that anymore. Like, my life is my life, and what I post is my happiness. And I think, you know, I know I kind of went off the whole how's your life journey affected your love life.
Okay.
I think with all of that being said, I need to stop looking for love and let it find me. And with that
When you
being
stop looking, that's when it's going to find you.
right, right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that even with that and everything that I've said before is that when you try something new, you never know the opportunities are given you. And I'm someone who, yes, I love to party and I love to go out and drink, but the thing is, I don't do it as much as I should. And what I mean by that is when I go to a bar or if I go to a club with my friends, I'm not that person to go up to somebody and be like, hey, can I buy you a drink? Or hey, how are you? And I think that if I'm ever gonna find someone or if I'm ever gonna like I have to put myself out there. I have
Mm-hmm.
to do something completely different out of my comfort zone in order to make things happen. And I can't remember the quote really, but it's, the only chances you miss are the opportunities you don't take. And so for me, I keep saying no to a lot of people. You want to go grab a drink? Oh, I can't. I'm doing something. Hey, do you want to grab dinner? No, sorry, blah, blah, blah. Do you know that when I was let go of my job, my other friend who I hadn't talked to, or I still talk to, but I hadn't seen since graduation of '09 of high school, we talked, but we never saw each other.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until she got fired too that we rekindled and we went out for drinks and we were like, fuck our lives and we're just gonna drink till whatever. And she has been the biggest support through all of this. And it just shows you what happens when you say yes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think about, I haven't read it. I keep telling myself I'm going to read it, but I have to. I guess now is Shonda Rhimes, The Year of Yes.
I've heard
Um,
of it.
yeah. So what she says is that it's basically what I've been saying is, take the opportunity because you don't know what comes from it. And she tells a really good story about her weight loss journey because what happened was she went on a plane ride and when she went to go buckle her seat, she couldn't. And she had to ask for an extender.
Oy.
And in that moment, I guess she really figured out what is wrong with this picture? What is wrong with this? And from there on, she made a commitment to say yes to everything. And because of that, she was able to lose all this weight and be successful. She has How to Get Away with Murder, like all
Mm-hmm.
like she's an amazing woman. And for me, I think the biggest thing is just say yes,
Mm-hmm.
um, and know that you're going to relapse. I've relapsed so many times.
That you're literally answering one of the questions I had
Oh,
was
sorry.
moving to, or not moving, sorry, going to Florida. Did you feel, or at any point, did you really feel like I'm going to relapse or this is
Yep.
causing me to relapse?
Yes.
What were the triggers for it?
So I couldn't tell you how many times I relapsed, but the triggers was work. I got work was so I think one of the things that I did was I let work become my life, and that's something that you can't do. So work was definitely a trigger. I made work such a priority that there was a good month and a half that I worked from 5 in the morning until 8 at night.
Jeez.
I would skip lunch, I would skip dinner, I wouldn't work out. Um, I made sure that everything was running well, and so I really put a lot of things before myself. And I think the reason that is because I have such a big heart, and maybe because I'm a Leo too. But I want to see people happy before I see myself happy, and that is such a pro and a con in any terms of my life. And I think that that's one of the triggers that I have in my life is that I want to see others succeed before I see myself succeed. And
Ooh.
that is so hard because it gets frustrating when I work out and I'm on a good roll and then something happens and then I stop and then I'm on again. Because in the back of my head, I'm always like, oh, these people must think like, oh, here he goes again, working out, not working out, working out, not working out. But the thing I think from that needs to be remembered is that I never gave up. Yes, I stopped, but I never gave up.
You didn't stop. You always took breaks.
Right, right, right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And there was things like I think there's a there's a change that you need to have in your vocabulary. Like I never said diet. I always said I'm going to incorporate this into what I'm eating, or I'm going to do. Let me try keto with what I'm eating now. What can I change? Like I never said diet. I never said my goal was to lose weight. My goal was to be consistent in the gym, to be consistent in a healthy lifestyle. And what does that mean? Whether it's drinking more water, whether it's going on walks, whether it's working out, whatever it is that's healthy, that's what it is. And I think that what triggered was those words of I have to work out, I have to work out, I have to work out, I haven't worked out, I messed up on my diet, I messed up on my diet. But rather it was what can I do to continue to be healthy? Even if it's not working out. All right, let me stop drinking soda. I've gone 3 to 4 weeks without soda. It's been water. You know, I've had a lot of more soy. I've had a lot more fruits, a lot more vegetables. And I'm noticing, a lot of differences. And I think that right now is that you need to change the perspective on what you're doing. And so for me, it was changing the vocabulary and changing it all around. So that was that. I think those were the triggers for me.
Do you wish you would have started sooner?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, I was taking a sip of orange juice. Yes, definitely. I think one of the things that I do that is really bad with myself is, even though the gay men look really hot on Twitter, I look at them and I'm like, wow, they're younger than me and they look like that. Like I could have done that. Or, I'm almost 30 and I don't look like this. And I still do it and I need to stop. But I wish I started sooner for a lot of different reasons. And for me, just thinking back growing up, I don't, like my mom was someone who legit went out and like bought us a gym membership and said she would be working out with me, but I didn't have the motivation. I would go with my cousin to work out and then I just stopped. And so I did work out when I was younger, but not as much as I did right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish that I had known now. Well, I wish what I knew now is what I knew way earlier, because I think life would have been a little differently health wise. Luckily and fortunately, like knock on wood, there's no health issues with me right now. But I would have loved to been, at a healthier state, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what have been some of your biggest challenges or struggles throughout this journey?
That's a good question. I think the biggest challenge is sometimes I'm doing this journey alone. And what I mean by that is physically, like I don't have a gym partner. I don't have someone who I can be like, come on, let's go. And I think for me, that's hard because there's times where I'm like, oh, I'm just going to stop. And it's like, all right, stop. But before, when I was working out with people, they were like, no, come on, another 30 minutes. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So that was definitely a challenge for me. I think the struggle as well was I kept comparing myself to other people. And I still do to this day. And it's hard. I'd be in the gym and I know, and until this day, there's still that thought in the back of my head of like, does this person, think like I look like an idiot trying to do something, or in the back of their head are they saying, oh, like, look at this person trying to lose weight, but they're going to stop in a couple of months or a couple of weeks. And so that struggle is having that negative thought in my head over and over and over again.
Okay. Going back to what you were saying about your childhood, growing up, were you bullied at all? Is that why you were quiet, or were you just quiet into yourself because of the fear of rejection?
Both. I wouldn't. So there's only that I can remember is I just remember one person who would physically bully me, and what I mean by that is, he would like on my double chin, he'd do like a turkey, like that little like swishy swish, and he'll be like gobble gobble. But that was really it. Um, Fear of rejection, big time. Yeah, I think I I put a lot of thoughts into my head, and it stopped me from friendships. It stopped me from going up to people, and I think for me, just it made I was afraid that I was going to look stupid because I was big.
Mhm.
But here's where I kind of contradict myself is growing up, I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club in Chelsea. And there was this one woman who, till this day, I still talk to. And I literally met her in middle school, and we text all the time. And she was the assistant art director, and she ended up building the first performing arts program at the Boys and Girls Club. And she said to me, "Are you gonna try out for anything?" And I said, "Ha ha 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 ha." One, a guy doing dancing. At that time, I didn't know it was gay. Two, um, I was a big guy, and I was like, big guys don't dance. And three, especially if you were Latino, you didn't do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like you just didn't, do tap dancing or ballet dancing. And she was one of the first people in my life who made me feel comfortable on a stage. Like I wore a pink shirt. I wore those tap shoes. I wore those ballet shoes. I'm the one who did freaking splits and everything when it came to our dance recitals. She's the one who really made me express myself through dance, through art, through singing, through acting.
That's
Um,
amazing.
and that's the thing, though, is that it was only when it was on stage. When I was out in real life, it was hard. And so when I was in high school, it helped me a lot, especially when it came, to meeting new friends, because I joined the drama club at school and I met amazing people. Like I said before, they're still my friends till this day. There's still people that, I can be like, hey, I have 2 tickets to go see this. Do you want to come with me? Yeah, let's go. We'll still talk about shows that are opening up and our thoughts and everything. And because of her, I think that that was the first time in my life where I was like, I can literally do anything. And I know that there were people in the audience, um, laughing and whatnot, but I didn't, at that moment, I didn't even see them. At that moment, I literally was so happy to be dancing or to be singing or to be acting. And going back to what I said, because I know I said it 3 times already, of saying yes and taking every opportunity. If it wasn't because of her, I wouldn't know that I love music so much. I wouldn't have joined the band. I wouldn't have joined the chorus in middle school. And if I hadn't joined the chorus in middle school, I wouldn't have been the only 5 kids from Chelsea to sing in the Boston chorus on the opening of Zakem Bridge with Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, wow.
That is something that I will always hold dear to my heart. If it wasn't because of, her, I wouldn't have fallen in love with the musicals. And her sister happens to be on a Broadway show, Lion King. If you haven't seen it, if you've never seen a Broadway show, Lion King has to be your first Broadway show, people. Buy your tickets. Because of that, she set up for me to go on a Broadway stage, and her sister let us go and like see the costumes and just be on a Broadway stage, and to feel that light on you is something that you can't explain ever, ever. Because of her, I was able to really be involved in so many programs throughout the city of Chelsea that led me to my career of being a social worker. And so my goal in life as a social worker and in career is, I was a gay Latino boy who grew up in the city of Chelsea. And for those of you who know Chelsea, it really has a bad reputation when it comes to gang and violence and drugs and poverty and all this stuff. And for me, she was that pipeline that that took off the root of a typical Latino boy in Chelsea. And I don't mean typical as in everybody's a drug dealer or everybody's a gang member, but I think that a lot of people who are outside of Chelsea thought that everybody was the same. And for me, it helped me with my career, with my love for music, my love for art. And for me, my goal is to provide the resources and the services and the opportunity to, you know, children of color to opportunities that they may never have. I think about summer camps. Like there are so summer camps here where you literally get to go to the beach or the park because that's the only thing that your organization can afford. When you live in Waltham or North Suburban or Waltham or whatever, those white areas where you can go, do archery, where you can go swim at such a nice lake, or where you can go horseback riding.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For me, I was given these opportunities to go to Canada for 2 weeks and learn about environmental injustices and really travel the world. I've been to Mexico, I've been to Puerto Rico, I've been to Canada, I've been to different parts of the country because of this one woman who led me to all these opportunities and really understanding the importance of providing these services to the youth of our community. And that's something that has really helped throughout my whole journey. And I wish that my health journey was something that I could have promoted on, early in my life. But right now, I think, as we go, our whole life is a journey. So no matter what age, there's always a message behind. So I'm really glad at any opportunity to really, tell my story.
That's amazing. What are some words of advice that you'd give younger people right now that are of inspiration for them to start their journey or to start any type of journey that they hope to be on?
So I think the most two important things that of everything that I've said, I hope that the two things that, you know, the younger generation or older generation, just anybody is, one, get out of your own head. It's going to be a struggle, but you need to get out of your own head. Take away those thoughts, um, take away the negativity. And second, don't do it for anybody else but yourself. The minute that you do it for anybody else, you lose the reason why you started that journey. It becomes less worthy. When it's for you, that's when you feel the most impact about
Beautiful. Well, that's great. That's, y'all heard it here first.
it.
That's awesome. That's seeing, like, when you first started posting, I was just like, that's so cool. Like, I wish I could. You were definitely a motivation for me. I I get motivated, then I get unmotivated so quickly. I'm not consistent. I gained so much weight in the past, like, 4 years that I was with my daughter's father, just from eating out and eating and eating. And I just love food so much.
Yeah.
So I am, as soon as this baby gets right up on out of me, I am going to start my journey, because I moved and I'm like, my life has changed forever now, being on another part of the country, and I just need to do something for myself. And I feel like that is what I will be doing.
And it's weird when I had the Instagram and people. I haven't deleted a lot of people off my Twitter, but there's people who are like, "You're such a motivator," or "You motivated me to do this, and this is what I did," and blah blah blah. Like I'll never forget when I first started. Like I was literally at Starbucks in Chelsea, and I was in line, and somebody turned around and was like, "Whoa, are you Carlos?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, I follow you on Instagram, and because of you, I started keto, and I lost this much weight, and blah blah blah. Let me buy you your coffee." And I'm like, "No, no, no! Like, please, like,
Aww.
I'm not someone who flashes what I have, I guess, or just, I'm not that type of person. But I think that for me it's hard to hear that I motivate people or whatever, because sometimes I can't even motivate myself. But I think that that's one of the other things that really motivates me. It's like people saw me doing it and now they're doing it. I have to continue with doing it for me, obviously. But if I know that someone out there, is healthier or is just happier because of what I did or because of what I started, that definitely means a lot to me. And I can tell you that I never wanted to be, not that I was famous, but never wanted to be famous, never wanted this platform, never, wanted 90,000 followers or whatever it was. And, now that I had it, I was like, okay, this is my chance to tell a story and do this stuff. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity. But right now I need to do it more for me. And I think that one of the hardest things you'll ever learn in any journey is that it's okay to be selfish. And by being selfish, you are actually doing so much better for yourself that when you are ready, you can help others.
I agree. Even you deleting your Instagram is motivating me, because for the longest I've been saying like I wanted to start over, because my Instagram was built off of thirst traps and pictures of my body and pictures of my ass and stuff. And then like once I had my daughter, or once I got pregnant the first time, I was just like, I don't really want to post this stuff anymore. And then I started losing followers, and then I decided to delete all of the pictures, and I was just like, this is not who I am anymore, and this is not what I want to. And then I slowly stopped posting really on Snapchat, and I stopped posting on places because I was like, I don't really feel it anymore. And as much as that's why I had to change my name, because I was like, Mustang Bad was a different time in my life. I was a different person, and now I am just like someone else. So I've definitely been juggling with, should I just delete it and start over? I like changed my name on Instagram, but I'm like, it's not the same thing, because even now, like if I post a picture of my tits, it'll get so many likes. But if I post a picture of like the blackout yesterday, I got like 100 likes. I was like, I fucking hate all of you. Like, I don't understand why you like. I post my podcast. You guys, nobody supports because it has nothing to do with, or I'm not posting about sex, or I'm not like all these things. So it's really sucky, and I really just want to start over. I just need to like just do it. But I'm so scared because I've had that Instagram since like 2000, since it came out, like the week it came out, I got it. So it's just been,
It's hard. It's hard because it's like it's the one thing you've known, and you're right. I think I had it when it first came out too, and I had pictures from like 2013, I think, on there, or whatever it was. And there's a lot of memories that were on that Instagram that I didn't get to keep, and it was hard, but I needed something new, and I think that I was becoming someone who I wasn't, and that wasn't okay with me. And a lot of people, even though I know they were joking, it bothered me so much when people were like, "Oh, you changed since you got so many followers." Or I would walk into a room and people would be like, "Oh, here comes Mr. Insta Famous," and I'm like, even if that's a joke with you guys, like, you never know who's in the room, because then they're gonna be like, "Oh, does this kid think he's this?" And it's like, that's not who I am. And that's not who I ever wanted to be remembered by. And so it was hard, but it was something that I had to do. And right now, am I happy with the followers that I have now? Of course. But I agree with you. Like, even when I had these followers, like my workout videos or me sweating in a mirror would get like freaking 40, 50,000, likes. And then I'd be like, me and my cute nephew. And it's like, oh, okay, 1,000 likes. And it's like, okay, like, God, like, if you're gonna like, and here's the other thing, and I don't want to go off topic, but it's like, when you look at like these social media people who are literally getting rich from posting on TikTok, posting on Twitter, posting on Instagram, they literally like everything, and you're giving somebody who literally, like, I don't know, like, if you look at like the Jake Pauls who are idiots, or if you look at the I don't even know, like that Lance kid who literally pranks his grandmother. Like, okay, that's funny, but like, why are people giving him all this money to buy a new house and a Mustang when he's literally just pranking his grandmother? Like, what good are you giving to the world? And it's great that, like, don't get me wrong, I laugh at them sometimes. Like, you know, everybody needs a good laugh, but for me, what you're posting needs to have content, needs to be valuable to the world. And I think with you doing these podcasts and the different questions that I've seen, I think that it's important to have these conversations. I think it's also conversations that people won't have, especially around sex and weight loss and love and all this stuff, because it's things that people feel uncomfortable talking about. And it's like, even with everything that's going on in the world, you know, yeah, racism is such a hard thing to talk about, but it needs to be talked about. You know, sex is something that everybody does. Why is that when we talk about it, you have this little shy thing? Like, no. Like, I think that when we do stuff within our social media, like, you need to, one, be careful who you follow, like what you post because of your followers, but two, like, do something that provides good to the world. You know what I mean? Like, for you pranking your grandmother, or going to a store and, you know, telling some woman, you know, going to a BK being like, oh, you forgot my shake. What shake? Oh, shake that booty. Like, okay, that's funny, but why are you making $1,000 off that video? You know what I mean? Like, it just, to me, it's just like, social media just has gone downhill since I don't even know when, but it's just not being used what it should be used. And I'm glad that not that I'm glad what's happening right now, but that social media is being used for the right reasons, to get the word out there, to get people to really unite, to get people to, you know, donate to causes that are really helping throughout this crisis, both COVID and everything that's happening in Minnesota and all around in the cities that are protesting. But it's just like, I feel like it's wrong for people right now to be posting about a prank or promoting like, there's people who don't work, but they like, it's those like pyramid schemes, and they're out protesting, and they're making like these artsy pictures because it's like, it's what they do, and it's like, this is not for you to promote what you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where it's hard. Like, social media is hard, and I think that that's one of the reasons why I really deleted it.
I bet. Oh, well, I'll keep you posted if I do end up deleting my Instagram.
Okay.
When I get the courage, because I have so many archive pictures that are old. I don't know if I can get rid of them. So I don't know. I've been slowly going on my followers list, though, and just deleting people, because now you can remove your followers. So I was like, let me go in here and just delete people that like, especially because I have so many men. I'm just like, you guys are literally only following me because of what I used to post. And like, I'm not going to post that anymore. Well, I don't even want to say I'm not, because like, if I end up losing the weight and I look like a mamacita, I might. But like, right now, I don't think so. I have babies, and I don't even want them really on socials. So, yeah. But
so can I ask you a question based off what you just said?
yeah, absolutely.
So, how you said that there's like a lot of men on your Instagram. Do you find it hard to be friends with women, because of like what you've posted, or just anything? And the reason why I ask that is because for me, I think it's hard to make friends in the gay community, not only because it's so small and everybody does everybody, but I think it's also because I think not saying that you made a bad name for yourself, but for me, I made a bad name for myself, that I think that people hold on to that for such a long time that it's hard to make friendships. So basically, like, do you think that it's hard to make friends with females because of they're holding on to something from the past, or I hope I asked that question right.
Well, I don't really make friends on social media. Like, the people that I've met through social media, like the supporters and stuff that will reach out to me and they'll message me directly. The women that reach out to me, it's usually open-minded women. It's always girls that like have been following me for a while, and they're like, you're so confident, and how is it that you can talk about this, and I love that you're so outspoken and things like that. I've yet to experience anybody that like, or any girl or woman that hit me up to be like,
how can you do this, or how can you be this way? Luckily, and then in person, I usually meet people in person, and that's how I create my friendships, like the more genuine, real ones that I hang out with people, because I've experienced, I actually talked about this last night. Someone told me that he didn't have social media, and like he didn't have like all the stuff, and then come to find out a few months later that he actually had been following me for like years, and this was after we were talking and all this stuff, and he had been lying to me. And then the way I found out was crazy, but ever since then I was just like, oh, I have to watch out with everyone and everything. And it makes me so anxious, and I'm a very anxious person. I have like depressive issues. I'm just like, I try my hardest to just like, if I'm going to make friends, it is a real genuine, like one of my first interviews was with this girl. She lives in Michigan, and we have talked almost every day since that interview, and that was a couple of weeks ago. And me and her just became cool off of an interview that I had never met her before. I had never even spoken to her. I spoke to her the day before to set up the interview, and that was about it. But then after that, so we've just become cool. Like, so it's things like that. I really, I no. So to answer your question, no, it hasn't really
I love that,
affected.
though. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. So let's slide right on into the weekly shenanigans. And this is where we discuss bullshit that we've seen on social media this week. It could be a story that we've seen or we heard. It could be a meme, a picture, a video, anything that you want to talk about, really, that you thought was bullshit.
Sure. Um, so I think the one thing I obviously want to talk about, because of everything that's been going on, is the whole Black Lives Matter, of what's going on, and the one specific thing is, I saw a post from someone who I thought was a friend, who said something really ignorant. Well, they had said something basically along the lines of that they didn't understand why they were protesting, because the last time that she remembered, oh, here we go. It was, how do we got these protest parades going on, but canceled any and all gay parade festivities? Black people are upset about not being heard and not being treated equal. Last time I checked, there's been white presidents and a black president, but I've yet to see a female president or a gay president. So if you ask me, y'all much closer to having a voice than us in the LGBTQ community. It goes on, but I'm not going to read everything that this person wrote. I found that to be absolutely bullshit, because the thing about this whole Black Lives Matter is there are people who are like, all lives matter. Nobody is saying that not all lives matter. Is that at this moment in time of everything that's going on, they're the ones who need us the most. And if you are really someone who is an LGBTQ person or an LGBTQ ally, you need to understand that the whole reason of Pride is not to go walking down the streets half naked to get drunk and to hook up and to do drugs. 50 years ago at Stonewall, it was a black, queer, trans woman who led the fight. It was riots. There was looting. And look, yes, we have such a long way to go still, but here's the difference, is that us as the LGBT community has stopped fighting. I know that there are some who are still fighting the fight, but a majority of us have seen Pride as a festivity and celebration, which is fine, but there's still such a long fight to go. And I think to say something like that is so ignorant and so irresponsible to say, especially from somebody from an LGBTQ community, because when you look at how it started, we should be the ones who are standing up for the Black Lives Matter at this moment. And from that as well, I think even as a Latino, it's been hard to be a Latino hearing some of the things that the Latino community are saying, that they're not standing up for them. And they're saying, well, I don't see anybody protesting for, our kids who are in cages. Have you protested? No. Have you led something like this? No. don't blame it on the Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean? It's so frustrating that we live in a society where we can't support one another or love one another to be like, you know what? This is going on. Let's support you.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do? Because right now, as we're seeing, it's numbers that are affecting the changes that are going to be happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so for anybody of the LGBTQ community or anybody that's Latino saying, no, 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 what about immigration? What about LGBTQ? We're not saying you don't matter. Nobody is saying that not all the lives matter. It's just that in this moment right now, we need to be supportive of other communities of what's going on because of the injustices in our country.
Mm-hmm. I
Sorry
agree. I think this
I'm
time
sorry
right
for the
now,
rant.
no, it's okay. I definitely think that right now, with everything going on, it's exposing all of everybody,
Mhm.
everyone that. Oh, are you on? Can you see what I wrote?
Yes. Wait, right now?
Yeah, can you see like what I wrote?
No.
Oh, okay, no wonder. I'm like, I can't move that. Because I wrote my thing on here. Like I always like write, but I don't know if okay. Anyway,
Oh, so are you talking about where it says, I read a story?
yeah.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus, sorry.
No, no, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
So well for me, as you can see,
Yeah.
my bullshit that I saw this week, my shenanigans of the week was a trans woman that was brutally attacked a few days ago by a group of cis men while she was protesting and trying just to live her life. All I have to really say about it is that all Black lives matter,
Mhm.
not only the straight ones or the ones
Right.
that aren't trans.
Right.
It means every single one of them. And
Right.
like it's been really tough for like LGBTQ in general, but the trans community, the Black trans community, it's like they're not accepted.
Yep.
And like not only are they not accepted, they're being like killed
Right.
often
Right.
for just trying to live their lives. And when I seen this, I saw it today, and I reposted it on my podcast page because I was like, this is crazy. Like she was just trying to protest
Yeah.
for everybody, and you guys couldn't even let her live or like not even live. You couldn't even let her just do that. Like I just did not understand, and I was very frustrated. I thought that was some bullshit.
And so I love the fact that you brought this up because I was part of a conference in Seattle that I had planned, and we were given the opportunity to do what's called an Emily talk, which is basically you go up and you tell your story. And I basically talked about being gay within an organization that was really Christian, and really didn't support LGBTQ. Well, I don't want to say they didn't support. I think that what it was is that they were afraid to support, especially because of donors and just different stories I was hearing throughout the organization. And another friend of mine who had just met, I'd known him for a year at that point, and we were going through the conference, and he's a very religious person. And it was the day, no, it was the day before we had to go on stage and tell our story, and I was up first. And I remember that he brought me into the bathroom, and sorry, I'm gonna get a little emotional, but he took me to the bathroom, and I knew something was bothering him. I knew something was bothering him. And he's like, at this moment, you're the only person I can tell. I said, okay. Mind you, there was like 30 of us, I think, maybe even less. It was definitely more than 20 of us. And we had known each other for a year. We had been working with each other for a year. And I just remember him going, Carlos, I am queer as fuck. And I said, wow. I was like, I didn't know. He goes, well, not only that. He goes, but I put the T in LGBTQ. And I was shocked because I I think my generation and growing up, I think that we are ignorant and oblivious to outside of our quote unquote, and I don't want to use this word, I guess normalcy, where for me it was always either you are gay or you're lesbian. And I didn't know what trans was. I didn't, do the research on it. And when he told me and he explained everything to me and everything that he has gone through for being a Black trans man, it was at that moment where I felt disgusted with myself, where I felt like I wasn't like a gay person. And what I mean by that is that I think within our own communities, whether you're Latino, whether you're female, whether you're Black, whether you're Asian, whether you're gay, whether you're whatever, that there's also these discrimination and stereotypes that are within your own communities. And for me, I wouldn't say that it was discriminatory, but it was just that I was ignorant to the fact that there was other people within our community. And because of him, I was able to open myself up and really understand what was going on and understand the whole history of Pride and understanding everything. And because of him and seeing everything that is going on with individuals who are Black and trans has shed such a light in my life that seeing that and just seeing individuals who are trans go through what they're going through in Puerto Rico, when like it's hard to see the stories that are going on. um there's so many people who are saying, well, it's 2020, how are people not getting along? And I can't remember who said it. I think it was Will Smith, and it was that racism wasn't is was I know I'm gonna screw up the quote, but he basically said is that racism is now being filmed.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
nice.
and I think that because of that, I was sheltered of what was going on. Because I'm sure that as I was growing up or as I was in high school, that there were these things that were going on, but I don't think that we had the media that we do today to see everything that's going on. And I think that that's why I find myself ignorant when it comes to certain topics. And I am glad for the media that we have, certain medias that we have today, that allows me to really see what's going on within our community and just what we can do. What parts can we play in this? And I just, it's a tragedy of what's going on, but hope I hope and I pray that people see this as an opportunity to educate themselves, to advocate for themselves, to advocate for others. And you know I'm worried about our children growing up and what's going on now.
Hopefully, by the time our kids get older, the times have really changed for the better for them.
I hope so too.
Mm-hmm. So let's get on into the third segment, which is the weekly check-in. And this is where we talk about a current event topic that you might be catching up on. It could be something you saw on TV. It could be like a show, a movie, something on social media, the news, a magazine, anything that you thought was worth talking about. For me, it was that Snapchat said that they're no longer going to be posting Trump snaps or anything about him. And I think every single platform should do that because people just entertain his stupidness and all the dumb shit he has to say. I think Twitter needs to delete his profile and ban him for life. And all social media should just do that because he is the worst.
Yeah, and I think even going off what you're saying, the picture, I know it's been around everywhere, of Martin Luther King covering his mouth and telling him to shush.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's such a powerful image because just some of the things that man says boils my blood. But I think the only thing that I can really think of right now after what you just said is that right now on social media. So there's a positive one, and then there's a negative one. So let me start negative so we can end on a positive note. So negative is the amount of organizations and companies that are funding Trump's 2020 campaign. And people are like, don't eat here, don't support this business. And when you look at the list, like Taco Bell,
Wendy's,
KFC, Wendy's,
it was so sad.
Olive Garden. Like, as a fat person, I'm like, holy shit, how am I supposed
Garden?
Right, yeah, Olive Garden. Them breadsticks.
Breadsticks.
Right. But it's I think it makes you think of like, wow, like obviously politics is always business. Always, right? Always. We get it. Like you can't be political without money. You can't be political without somebody like I get that. But when you think about growing up, like in Chelsea for us, like there's a Burger King, there's a McDonald's, there's a KFC, there's a Taco Bell, there used to be a Pizza Hut, there's a Domino's, there's this. So you have all this access to food, and especially where we live in a low income community where how am I supposed to say no to a $1 chalupa compared to a $7 salad from a fresh market or from Panera bread or something? Well, if it's Panera bread, it's like $14, but
true.
So there's these so not saying that I hope this doesn't come off wrong, but it's just it makes me think like when you tell, because obviously I'm not going to eat at Taco Bell or KFC anymore, but I started thinking about, well, what about those communities that don't have access to healthy, affordable food? Because I remember growing up, my mom would give my brother $5 or $10 and be like, get something off the dollar menu. Or I remember when we used to go to New York every weekend and we would come home late at night, we go to Taco Bell because it was the one thing that was open late at night. You know what I mean? And so I start thinking about these family dynamics that are around, and especially in our communities. It's like, well, how does that happen? You know what I mean? And I worry because I know that there are some who have children who are so involved and I love it. But when it comes to, because food disparity is a real thing, and especially now with COVID-19 and everything that's happening in Chelsea, like there's literally thousands and thousands and thousands of food given every single day from the National Guard because of the lack of food and the lack of people not working at this moment in the amount. I think the last time I checked, there was 2,500 individuals in Chelsea who tested positive for COVID-19.
Oh my goodness!
And so to think about how many people are not working, to think about how many people are not like, it literally worries me about the businesses that we shouldn't be supporting anymore. Although I agree with it, it's just that thing that's in the back of my head. But the positive thing that I absolutely love about this whole taking Trump off Snapchat and no longer supporting those communities is that right now that there's this organization, I can't remember the name right now, but they are literally listing every Black-owned restaurant, Black-owned organization that you should go support.
It's the Massachusetts one, right?
Yeah, so there's one in Massachusetts. There's actually one in Orlando. There's one, so I'm guessing in every state right now they're doing it to show your support. And so it's been great to see just the amount of support that it's going into these restaurants in their own communities, because I think that one of the conflicting arguments that people are having is, rioting and looting, we understand. And I was having this conversation with my brother was, I understand the whole looting of Target, the whole looting of Walmart, excuse me, the whole looting of stores that are like, Timberland or basically the big organizations. But there have been some communities where they are destroying small businesses, and where I saw a picture of a restaurant where somebody had posted, before you destroy what I have, like this is everything I have, like I have a daughter to support, please don't destroy what I have. I think that right now having this list of of Black-owned restaurants and organizations is so great to have, because it's just one of those things where you can just show your support. Because I think right now, what I love about what people are doing with social media is they're saying, like, we know that this is a difficult time, that you may not have the money, but these are the ways that you can help, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like there was one where it's like you watch a YouTube video, and if you watch all the ads, all 100% of that goes to these organizations. And so I think that this is a time where our country is like, we understand, but this is how you can support and do your part, even if you can't give $30, $50, but this is one way that you can give back.
Mm-hmm. That's that's a really good note to end on, because that's awesome. It's really good that those resources are out there for people to
Yes.
be aware and stay informed.
Yeah.
And so for our last segment, that's our listener Q&A. And this week I don't have any emails, so people send in your emails with questions or stories or anything you want me to read on the pod to deb.talk with an extra K at the end at gmail.com. Again, that's deb.talkk@gmail.com. But in the meantime, do you have a question or a story or anything you'd like to tell me?
I think the only question I have right now, and I don't know if this has been asked before, is what made you start doing the podcast?
So I've gotten that question so many times, but it's like, okay, I don't mind answering it. What got me started was because I did the YouTube videos and everything. I enjoyed doing that, but the editing sucked, and I really wanted to do more than just talk to the camera. And I was like, this is cool, but I want to do more. I want to talk about stuff. I like talking to people. And like when I would do my rants on Snapchat and stuff, people would always be like, you need to do something. Like you're always talking and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I know, I don't know what to do. And then when I started listening to podcasts, I was like, oh shit, maybe I could do this. How? I don't know. So then a year ago, I brought it to my daughter's father's attention. Then a couple months in, he got me, when was it? I think it was either for my birthday or for Christmas. He ended up getting me the equipment and everything. So yeah, that was what really. And then the other day when not the other day, a couple weeks ago, he was like, do a post and see who responds. And then I did, and I ended up doing in a week like 12 interviews. And then I've just been reaching out to people that I really enjoy, either watching on social media or have been following for a while, and they just have something to talk about, because a lot of people want to come on and then they don't really have necessarily anything really to talk about with you. You have a whole journey that's inspiring as fuck, whether you want to believe it or not. You are very motivational. So I thought you were amazing. And like the same with like a lot of the guests I've had on. I've had authors, I've had a photographer, I've had just so many people, all great people. And this is exactly what I wanted to do, just get people together and talk about important topics, because it's just necessary for the world.
That's awesome, and it also reminds me of almost I think what you're doing. So do you know Humans of New York?
Mm-mm.
So if you follow them on Instagram, it's literally Humans of NY, and it's literally, and they have a book, which is a great book, but it's literally um, a person who goes and finds people and tells their story. So, like for example, like there was a dad who was obsessed with Sting, and before he passed away, he had painted a portrait of Sting, and his daughter posted up and said, when my dad died, he said, before he died, he said he always wanted to give this to Sting. He made me promise him, to get this to Sting before, before anything. And so then Sting's daughter reached out to the man's daughter and got it to Sting, and then Sting took a picture with it. And so basically, Humans of New York are telling stories of humans of New York, and there's some touching stories. And so what I love that you're doing is that there's obviously people who would love to read the stories and look at the pictures, but I think that for those who don't love to read, that this is perfect on telling different stories but through storytelling a different way, and oral storytelling. So I really do love that.
Thank you. Thank you. And I can't tell you enough how grateful I am that you said yes, and you were just like, yeah, of course. And like, I was like, oh my God, that was so easy. I was so nervous. I was like, I'm going to ask him, but I don't know if he will. Like, we don't really talk. And I mean, we have each other on social media, but it's like different. So yeah, again, thank you so much.
No. Thank you for asking me. I really do appreciate it. And to be completely honest too, I think it's something that has motivated me too, because I think to be able to tell my story again and to get back on it, it's good. So no, thank you for asking.
Absolutely. So please tell the people where they can find you and all of that good stuff.
Yeah. So my Instagram is Carlos Citos 2.0. So Carlos and then ITOS and then 2.0. And then my Twitter is Carlositos 13, which is also my Snapchat screening. So you can definitely find me there, or even on Facebook at Carlos Fuentes.
Nice. And everyone, please remember to subscribe and comment and rate us on iTunes and everywhere else you listen to podcasts. And yeah, we started this podcast asking, how has your life journey affected your love life? And as you can see, immensely. Weight loss or any type of big change in your life's trajectory will have a huge impact in your life and your love life. So be kind, because you never know what another person is going through. And like I always say, keep an open mind and an open heart. Toodles.
Toodles.